136, the February 15th meeting of the Oklahoma City Traffic and Transportation Commission is called to order. Commissioner Tao?
Present.
Commissioner Martin?
Present.
Commissioner Kula? Commissioner Harris?
Present.
Commissioner Johnston? Commissioner Pittman?
Present.
Commissioner May?
Here.
Commissioner Clayton? Anyone wishing to speak before the commission, if you'd seat Cherry and fill out one of these blue forms for us, please. Please limit your talk to 5 minutes. Thank you. Item number 2, approval of the minutes of the January 22nd meeting. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Clayton and a second by Commissioner Martin to approve the minutes from the January 22nd meeting. Could I have your votes, please? Approved unanimously. Item number 3 is the report on the licensed taxi and wrecker services. That will be in the April meeting based on our schedule of every 90 days. Item number 4 is the consent docket. Is there anyone here to speak on this, on an item that's on the consent docket? Do I have a motion to approve the consent docket?
I so move.
I have a motion by Commissioner May, a second by Commissioner Pittman to approve the consent docket. Could I have your votes, please? Approved unanimously. Thank you. Item 5A, the applicant is Josh Silverhorn, Safety and Security Director, Science Museum, Oklahoma, 2100 Northeast 52nd Street, Oklahoma City, 73111. The request is to consider the installation of warning flashers at the existing mid-block pedestrian crossings on Northeast 52nd Street, located approximately 320 feet and 710 feet east of North Martin Luther King Avenue Drive. Can I have staff summary, please?
All right. This item was tabled at the January meeting in order to verify the status of Northeast 52nd Street east of Martin Luther King Avenue. Since the January meeting, we have verified that this road is a public street, and therefore the Commission can consider Mr. Silverhorn's request for the addition of warning flashers at a couple of the existing mid-block pedestrian locations. Staff recommends approval of the request as submitted.
Commissioner Pittman? No comments? Do I have a motion?
I would recommend that we approve it.
I second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Harris, a second by Commissioner Pittman to approve item 5A. Is there any further discussion? Could I have your votes, please? Approved unanimously. Item 5B, the applicant is Connie Bradley, 12709 West Court, Oklahoma City, 73142. The request is to consider the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of North Rockwell Avenue and Westlake Boulevard. Is Ms. Bradley present? Could I have staff summary, please?
Okay. This item was also continued from the January meeting. On behalf of the Westlake Homeowners Association, Ms. Bradley has submitted a request for a signal at the intersection of Westlake Boulevard and North Rockwell Avenue. Staff comments and analysis of the intersection are contained within the report before you. The intersection currently meets 4 of the 9 traffic signal consideration warrants as contained within the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. You'll note in the report that the reason why this intersection meets several of the consideration warrants is due to the posted 45-mile-an-hour speed limit on Rockwell Avenue. A review of intersection delay found that the average delay on a per-vehicle basis is virtually identical when comparing the current side street stop control that's currently in place with that of a traffic signal. During both the afternoon and morning peak traffic hours, the intersection functions at a level of service A, meaning that it runs with delay attributed to traffic control in the range of less than 10 seconds per vehicle, either with or without a traffic signal. So based on the findings presented in the report, staff does not have cause to recommend the approval of the signal at this intersection at this time. And action on this matter is at the discretion of the Commission.
Do I have a motion on 5B?
I recommend denial of the request.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner May to deny item 5B, a second by Commissioner Tao. Is there any further discussion? Could I have your votes, please? Denied unanimously. Item 5C, the applicant is Catherine Hugas, President, Bradford Place Estates Homeowners Association, 4100 Southeast 86th Place, Oklahoma City, 73135. The request is to consider lowering the speed limit on South Sunny Lane Road between Southeast 74th Street and Southeast 89th Street from 55 to 40 miles per hour. Ms. Hugas, if you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
It's Catherine Hugas, 4100 Southeast 86th Place, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73135. Sorry.
Thank you.
I just have a couple points in regard to the staff summary, which I read. I drew up, after driving around and figuring out what all the speed limits are, generally speaking, in the area, I found that Sunny Lane between 104th and Highway 240, including the stretch that I'm requesting, is the highest speed limit for about 6 square miles. And in regards to the staff summary, there were some quotations regarding how many collisions that have happened on this stretch of the road. And I just wanted to point out that collisions don't tell the whole story. There are a great deal of hurry-ups, and when someone is trying to make a turn into the neighborhood and you've got guys coming at like 55 miles an hour up behind you, it's sometimes a little scary, wondering if this guy's going to nail you before you can make the turn into your neighborhood. Also, trying to pull out, even though the stop distance or the view distance is within the city standard, at 55 miles an hour, the actual decision time that you have, can I make it, should I pull out, should I not pull out, can be a little sporty when you're trying to get to work. Sunny Lane has experienced a great deal of growth in the last 5 years, and there's a large amount of traffic coming into that particular area to go to that Valero gas station, the Value Hotel, and the softball fields right there at 240 and Sunny Lane. Also, I believe that there's a great deal more traffic using Sunny Lane as opposed to Sooner or Bryant because the speed limit is so much higher. And I think if the speed limit was reduced, we could get people to drive on a street that might be a different street closer to their own neighborhood as opposed to zipping up Sunny Lane to get to 240. And ultimately, with the Heart Hospital, the Tinker Aerospace Center, and the punching through of the frontage road between Sunny Lane and Sooner on the south side of 240, the traffic's just going to get worse and worse. There is also a child development center right there, just south of the 240 on 74th, and a lot of people turning in or coming out of that area with kids in their car, trying to make those decisions with people coming on at 55 miles an hour. I have some handouts if you gentlemen would care to take a look at the speed limits in the general area for not just on Sunny Lane, but on Bryant and Sooner as well, between 59th and 104th.
Do you have enough copies for all of us? If not, we'll pass them around.
No, sir, I have four copies there.
Thank you. Could I have staff summary, please?
Okay, well, you've got the staff comments and the state law addressing speed limit limitation changes before you. In this case, state law limits the maximum speed limit change to 10 miles per hour. As such, the lowest possible speed that could be considered is 45 miles an hour, since the speed limit south of 89th Street is posted at 55. In order to maintain a consistent speed limit structure on Sunny Lane Road, staff's recommending that the Commission consider lowering the speed limit to 50 miles an hour, since the speed limit is 50 miles an hour north of southeast 74th Street. So action on this matter is at the discretion of the Commission.
Do I have a motion?
I'd like to recommend that we lower that to 50 miles per hour and look at it at a later time. But right now, if we went down 5 miles, that would get it in line with the one in north of 240. And yeah, I'd like to make that recommendation.
I have a motion for 5C to lower the posted speed limit from 55 to 50, made by Commissioner Harris, seconded by Commissioner Clayton. Further discussion?
I would just like to add one other thing. On the document that you produced showing the speed limits on Sunny Lane Road, it is possible, right now, the recommendation is based on postings on the adjacent miles on Sunny Lane.
Yes,
It's not
sir.
to say that those miles can't be looked at to see if it might be more reasonable to see about reducing them, in which case a lower speed limit on Sunny Lane through this area would be possible.
I think it would be something that council might want to look at in the future with the increase of development in that area. Thank you.
Further discussion, questions? I have a motion to lower the speed limit from 55 to 50 for item 5C by Commissioner Harris, seconded by Commissioner Clayton. Could I have your votes, please? Approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5D, Rick Brown, Principal, Stan Waddy Elementary School, 3517 South Lynn Avenue, Oklahoma City, 73119. The request is to consider the reassignment of a school crossing guard location from South Miller Avenue and Southwest 34th Street to South Lynn Avenue and Southwest Grand Boulevard for Stan Waddy Elementary School. Is Mr. Brown present? Can I have staff summary, please?
All right. Unlike item 4A, where you saw in the report that there were no children crossing at the location that was approved for removal from the crossing guard list, staff did observe school-age pedestrians continuing to cross at both of the locations identified in Mr. Brown's request. Staff is recommending that approval of the addition of the crossing guard at South Lynn and Southwest Grand Boulevard, but is not recommending the approval of the removal of the South Miller and Southwest 34th Street crossing location at this time. This location clearly is still in use and may now be an important school guard crossing location for Van Buren Elementary School. Since there's no limit on the number of authorized crossing guard locations, staff recommends retaining the Miller and Southwest 34th Street location. The future disposition of that location can be reviewed with staff from Van Buren Elementary School. So we're recommending the addition of the location as requested.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
To follow staff's recommendation. I have a motion for 5D to approve staff's recommendation, and that is to add the crossing at South Lynn Avenue and Southwest Grand Boulevard and keep the crossing at South Miller Avenue and Southwest 34th Street. And I believe that was seconded by Commissioner Martin. Further discussion? Could I have your votes, please? Approved unanimously. Item 5E, Mark A. Ritchie, PEPLS, Civil Design and Survey of Oklahoma, Inc., 7528 Northwest 132nd Street, Oklahoma City, 73142. The request is to consider lowering the speed limit on Northwest 164th Street between North Portland Avenue, also known as State Highway 74, and North May Avenue from 50 miles per hour to 45 miles per hour. Mr. Ritchie.
Good afternoon, Commission. Thank you for hearing our application, and thank you for staff's ability to work with us and pursue this.
Would you please state your name and address for the record?
Mark Ritchie, 7528 Northwest 132nd Street.
Thank you.
I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Phase Land and Development, that's presently working on a preliminary plat application with the Planning Department for a residential subdivision on the south side of 164th, just west of Regency Point. And I'm available to answer any questions the Commission might have.
Could I have staff summary, please?
Okay, in the staff report, you'll note that the reason for the speed limit reduction is tied to a proposed residential development called the Ironstone Addition. This request is similar to one that was considered back in 2008 when the developer of an office park asked for the lowering of speed limit on North May Avenue between Northwest 150th and Northwest 164th Streets. Because the request is being driven by a development application that has not yet been approved by the Oklahoma City Planning Commission, staff is recommending that the action by the Traffic and Transportation Commission be tied to the action of the Planning Commission. Since speed limit changes do not require City Council authorization in order to become effective, staff is recommending that the Commission action be made effective upon the Planning Commission's approval of the first final plat within the Ironstone Addition. This will allow staff time to change posted speed limit signs only if and when the development driving this application is approved. Staff also notes that the adjacent mile of 164th Street between May and Penn is posted at 50 miles an hour. At the time that the lowering of the speed limit on 164th from Portland to May becomes inevitable, staff will bring an item back before the Commission to consider lowering the speed limit on this adjacent mile to 45 miles an hour. Drivers anticipate and expect uniform and reasonable regulation of speed limits on arterial roadways, and so lowering the speed limit on Northwest 164th Street between May and Penn from 50 to 45 will be necessary in order to maintain consistency. So action on this matter is also at the discretion of the Commission.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we concur with Stewart in his findings that we reduce the speed limit to 45 miles per hour, subject to approval of final plat by the Planning Commission of Oklahoma City.
I'll second that.
I have a motion for 5E to approve lowering the speed limit upon approval by the Planning Commission of the first final plat by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Tao. Is there any further discussion?
I would ask one question of staff. During the preliminary plat review and staff report, where we would typically see a TE saying staff report shows that our driveway does not meet site distance, will there be a caveat on there saying that approval of the speed reduction is tied to that approval?
There will be one there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it won't be an issue when it goes to the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Will that meet your needs, Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion, comments, questions? I have a motion to approve item 5E as stated with staff's recommendations. Could I have your votes, please? Approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7, reports and other items from all the wards. Traffic commissioners. Commissioner Tao, do you have a report?
I have no report, but I do have a concern. Northwest Highway and MacArthur, the north-south left turns. The last couple of weekends, it's been very sporadic. So if you could get with War Acres and check that light out. I've gotten 2 or 3 calls on that. It's probably the second busiest intersection in Oklahoma City. Thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
I have just one item. I've been getting calls on cars because of the construction at 23rd and May. Their cars are diverting, cutting through the neighborhood during school hours, which 24th Street is one way. At your drop off and pickup times, and the cars are disregarding that and going the wrong way on down wrong way on 24th. So it's 24th and Miller.
Yeah, just back to the east there off of May, right?
Right, just to the east off of May, but they're turning off of 23rd and then cutting through, and that makes them going the wrong way at school. Which would be like, I'm sure they're probably not as bad in the morning, but maybe worse in the afternoon, from 2:30 to 3:30. So if you could have if selective enforcement would allow that, I would appreciate it. And probably so would the parents and children of Cleveland Elementary.
Commissioner Clayton?
I have no report, but I have to see the captain back with us.
Thank you.
And of course, one thing that I certainly would, I have a concern of the speed limit on that Lake Capitol Parkway. I realize that that's a sore thumb problem with your department, but on Sunday mornings, 9 out of 10 cars are going down there. We're going to church. But boy, those guys are pickups are just speeding down that Lake Capitol Parkway, and especially yesterday morning, in inclement weather, it was really hazardous driving the parkway.
Make a note of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Harris?
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Pittman?
No report.
Commissioner May?
No report.
We have received a verbal from Commissioner Johnston that she will be resigning. I haven't got anything in writing yet, but she's got some health issues, so she has verbally tendered her resignation.
We'll miss her. She was good. She's a hard worker.
Stewart, comments from staff?
The only thing you've got the list of yield signs that were installed using the administrative policies and procedures based on the amended policy that was done back in December of 2009. Another thing that's come up is with Oklahoma City schools changing their school zone or their school schedules, we've amended the times on the school zone flashers to work with our current schedules. There is one item that will probably need to be addressed by the police department on a case-by-case basis, and there are certain areas where, like Commissioner Martin was talking about, where you've got do not enter signs posted for certain times of day. There are so many signs like that out there that there won't be any way to possibly get to all of those, to amend those in time to meet their new schedule needs. So it'll be a function of parents working with the police department and the schools to make sure that traffic still flows smoothly or as smoothly as possible during those periods.
Mr. Keith?
No, sir. Thank you.
Captain McCool?
I have nothing.
With that, I think we've just about wrapped everything up. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you.